Hour number 2 officially underway on the Early Line Sports Grid Network for a Tuesday morning. Did you know? Hey, you might be first time tuning in. Congratulations. You found the place that's going to let you know exactly how it is. And we do it Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern, every single weekday here to make sure you understand what's going to happen today and what actually happened last night. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's Joe Ranieri. And the energy we always like to bring to keep it elevated. And also tonight, which in this hour we're going to talk about, Joe, the NBA is going to open its season. You got college football. Yeah, you're waiting on the NFL to return back on Thursday. And also a game number 1 in the World Series between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Los Angeles Dodgers. As we start to close the book on one season, another one opens up tonight, Joe, in the NBA.
Yeah, kind of crazy, right? NBA is here, and some will argue that it doesn't really start until Christmas,
It
but
doesn't.
there's a couple of months here, Donnie, that before then that you'll be able to, get used to seeing some of the names and new jerseys and those types of things. Because there's one thing for sure, I don't think we're going to be talking about Boston and Indiana a lot this year.
Yeah, and you know what the best part about this is, Joe? We're going to do a lot of NBA talk over the next couple months here. We know what the best thing is. Like, the early bird usually gets the worm. So Joe and I are going to break down multiple NBA games throughout the season, as we will do on a day-to-day basis. We're going to tell you, like, teams that we like. And by the time that game starts, we're like, Joe, 3 of these players aren't even playing in this game. Why is that? Oh, load management tonight. The NBA is by far the worst regular season sport to bet in the history of professional sports. Imagine, Joe, I know you're a big hockey fan. You love the Florida Panthers. I like the Philadelphia Flyers. I know one thing's for sure. I don't have to worry about load management when I handicap a hockey game in the morning. Understand, like, wait a second. The top 3 lines aren't going to play tonight because they're going to have load management. They can't do it. Major League Baseball. Yeah, on a Sunday, you get some different lineups, but on a Monday through Friday through Saturday, you know who's going to be that lineup. Hey, Bryce Harper's going to take 2 days off for load management here. That's not happening. How about a Sunday afternoon once you get the inactives here, right? It's like, wait a second. I expected C.J. Stroud to play. Oh, he's off this week. It's a long season. He's not going to play. Enough with the NBA. I wish it changed, but it is what it is. Let's get to the early lineup and get after it, because last night we did have 2 football games. The Seattle Seahawks improved to 5-2, trying to stay atop or get close to that NFC West. The Houston Texans whittling away their season, dropping to 2-4 after an anemic performance last night where they were handed 4 turnovers, including 1 direct touchdown, and still couldn't stay within the spread. Seahawks run away with it 27-19.
Yeah, a healthy Seattle defense is what you got to see last night, and they looked the part. That is for sure. They're still trying to figure some things out offensively for Seattle, but they still rushed for over 100 yards on a darn good defense there, and they have a receiver that might be top 3 in the NFL, Donnie,
Good one.
which is kind of crazy. But yeah, Seattle is looking up for them heading into their bye week.
Yeah, I love Jackson Smith and Jig, but Sam Darnold's been a pretty good find there. By the way, hey, Seattle, you happy that you moved on from Geno Smith and got Sam Darnold? Yeah, me too. I think you are, as you sit at 5-2 there, trying to track down a playoff spot. You know who else is trying to track down a playoff spot? Both the Buccaneers and the Detroit Lions. This game could come down at the end of the season to a tiebreaker. It was meaningful. Both teams now sit at 5-2 after the Detroit Lions had a 24-9 victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Lions defense, that banged up, injured, and suspended secondary, was phenomenal. And also, Mike Evans could be down for the year. Tough loss, and to add a little bit of that salt into the wounds, that Mike Evans clavicle and also concussion. A storied career, a Hall of Fame career. Let's see if he comes back.
Yeah, it was so tough. It was such a great, layout for a pass that they needed, which he, for the most part, caught until he hit the ground. And you could just tell it wasn't a hamstring. It was an unfortunate, something was wrong there. And we later find out that that's likely it for his season here. Unfortunate because with him, Tampa, I think the trajectory could have been pretty good. But unfortunately, Mike Evans, yeah, you're going to have to sit the rest of this season out here. But I do hope it's not the last time we see him.
Yeah, the tough part about it, too, is the injury was to the shoulder. But when you watch the play, it was a clean catch, actually hits the ground and holds it, but his head smashes the turf. And as he rolled over, you don't really have any feeling in your hands. That ball rolls right out. So I wonder if
Yeah.
his head doesn't smash the turf. He probably holds on to it, breaks the clavicle, but then you have a first and goal setup or a deep pass play that would have
Yep.
helped in that game. But nothing was helping Tampa, like I said. The clear better team was Detroit. They should have had more than 24 points, but credit again Tampa Bay for playing hard in that one, forcing some turnovers and also stopping them on fourth down. But the Lions get that victory. They're a tough team at home as they improve to 3-0. Bryce Young, high ankle sprain. It's a shame, too, because it looks like the Carolina Panthers on a win streak here can start to get rolling. Andy Dalton is going to take over. We'll see how that works out. But Bryce Young just trying to get that season on track. A couple wins in a row. He's not going to play for a few weeks probably now. Going up against the Buffalo Bills, he will not be the starter.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. I mean, Andy Dalton had to come into that game against the Jets there in the third quarter, but things had really started to roll for him here. But this is why you have a veteran backup, right, in this spot. So it's not, and he's been there, so it's not like he doesn't understand the playbook and the system. So we'll see if they can steady the ship here until they can get Bryce Young back.
Hey, I don't want to play against Kansas City. My hamstring hurts a little bit. You get out there, Marcus Mariota, and handle your business. We're talking about the Commanders here and Jaden Daniels, who did undergo an MRI, which wasn't clean, but it doesn't look as severe as it could have been. He'll be down at least this week in an injury-plagued season for the young signal caller there for the Commanders.
Well, if Dan Quinn don't get that defense fixed, it doesn't make a difference who your quarterback is. It's not going to work for Washington this year. So they're going to need to figure some things out defensively. In the meantime, rest it. There's no reason to rush him back at this point.
You know what else they need to do? Retire Marcus Lattimore at this point. I mean, that guy is getting clowned every single week by every top wide receiver. How about George Springer? He ain't clowning anybody. Matter of fact, he's not a clown. He's not the court jester. He's the king, baby, of Toronto this morning. There's the Blue Jays with a 4-3 victory, which included a 3-run shot in the bottom of the seventh inning that absolutely lifted the roof off of the Toronto Sky Dome, whatever Rogers Center now. Impressive performance as you see that graphic. Joe Carter and George Springer, welcome to the equation with monster home runs in the history of the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and the icing on the cake was that the fan that caught the home run ball was actually wearing Springer's number 4 jersey, which is hilarious. So, yeah, a very Kirk Gibson-esque there, trotting around with the bad knee after being hit a couple of games earlier. The guy is a postseason warrior, man, and he'll go down in history as such.
And before the game, he was saying, like, look, these game sevens is the reason why the Toronto Blue Jays brought him in here. And he's right. Like, you've been through those wars. You've won multiple championships here. You've played in game sevens before. And in the biggest moment, be able to swing the bat there and enjoy it. What a situation. I mean, kids growing up, 5, 6, 7 years old, are just going to replay that. Like one day they get a chance to hit a home run that big in the playoffs to lift your team into the World Series. And it's not like, hey, we were there 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It's been since 1993 since the Blue Jays were in the World Series, and they're going back to face the Los Angeles Dodgers. Take a look at Albert Pujols. He hopes one day he could be a manager of a team that gets to the World Series, but it's not going to be in Los Angeles with the Angels.
No, it's not. But I do believe it'll be somewhere on a team here in the near future, Donnie. Pujols wants it. They just couldn't get on the same page with the contract. So, but Baltimore continues to be rumored as a possibility. So we'll have to see.
How about getting on the same page with your agent and signing some pages here for a 5-year, $125 million contract? That's Christian, not Braun. Brown gets the big deal here.
Wow, the Nuggets guard, gets 5 years, $125 million, and nobody knows how to say his name. Kind of crazy, Donnie. But Denver, once again, they got the best player in the league, in the world, maybe. Can they utilize him this year to make a run again at the title?
We got a couple players that are the best in the world. They're going to tee it up tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern and 10 o'clock. We got the Houston Rockets and the Oklahoma City Thunder in game number 1. Banner night in OKC, then followed up by the Warriors and the Lakers. The no LeBron James Lakers going on tonight with Luka Doncic taking center stage. We'll see about that. We're going to handicap both of these games next. It's a brand new season. And it feels like a brand new start in the morning right here on the early line. It's Joe and Donnie. The NBA has begun. Time to get started. You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point. But if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas.
In the fourth quarter.
Yeah, come on.
Right? I mean, really. I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, it looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year. And I think big picture, they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
It's a long season, as we know, in the NBA, and that long season starts tonight, October 21st. We are not going to end the NBA season until into June, so get ready, buckle up, and let's see what's happening here. Opening night, a lot of teams think they can win a championship. We understand that theoretically, it's probably really only 1, 2, or 3 teams that has a chance to do it. If we look at the odds market sitting right now, and there is some movement this morning already. Oklahoma City Thunder, plus 200. Where is the value for that 6 months investment here on winning the NBA championship? The Denver Nuggets, you see on that graphic, plus 650. The Cavaliers, 7-1. The Knicks, 12-1. The Clippers, 17-1. And the Rockets sit at 18-1. A 2-1 price for the Thunder to repeat. They're a really good basketball team. That's not a really good price.
No, it's not, and I got better things to do than tie my money up for 6 months, Donnie, at 2-1. But I mean, listen, they should be the favorite, and they should be an overwhelming favorite, given the talent and the youth on this team. Now, they won't start with Jalen Williams here tonight, as he's still recovering from wrist surgery. But for the most part, all the other players will be there. It is going to be very interesting watching this team go along, because now you go from the hunter to the hunted. And again, the youth here, a lot of inexperience. We'll see how they handle being a 2-1 favorite. Not easy.
Yes, and we're also going to handicap a lot of games, as we said, in this National Basketball Association season, which is going to take place over the next 6 months as we have it. But we're going to start to build in some fun topics here along on the early line with our programming, because information on markets does change. We like FanDuel, we like DraftKings, we like Bet365. We take a look at Las Vegas, but the new markets, Joe, that are starting to creep in and getting a lot of attention, if you haven't heard of Polymarket or Kalshi, wait till you see a couple of things we're going to bring up throughout the season, and each and every day bring up a segment, because it's very easy at times. Just like, well, yeah, who's going to win the NBA championship? Of course, we always talk about that, but now there's other markets you can bet into, and legally saying, like, will Zion Williamson actually leave the Pelicans before next season? You said, why would I want to tie it up or have some fun? Some people can get added advantages here. Take a look at this, Joe. A 9% chance will Zion leave the Pelicans before next season, as it's listed here. If you were a betting man, yes or no at this point, and yes would pay off handsomely if there is a 9% chance that it happens, not a 91% chance that it happens.
it's interesting with Zion, isn't it? Though,
Yeah.
I mean, is he going to be healthy enough to play 12 games this year, Donnie? How long are we going to see Zion in a New Orleans uniform? Listen, that franchise is on the verge of hitting the reset button anyway. So, it might be worth a flyer there thinking, yeah, no, he's not going to finish it. They'll move him. A lot of things can happen between now and the deadline, but Zion will be somebody that I absolutely keep an eye on here because it wouldn't shock me. And we've seen some big moves over the last couple of seasons in the NBA midseason, Donnie.
Yeah.
Wouldn't shock me if Zion's wearing a different uniform.
Yeah, we got some more fun stuff here coming along on that, alternate market, as we like to say, on Poly Market and also Kalshi. But that's one of those bets that you can make to see if the Pelicans are leaving. And quite frankly, he probably will leave because why? If the Lakers need another superstar to replace LeBron James, they'll probably filter him out there, change the salary cap around, and make it very easily for him to go to a city that they can market him in. Make sure you stay tuned to that. And also, we asked the poll this morning, will Zion Williamson leave the Pelicans before next season? Overwhelming at 80% yes. So everybody thinking that if 80% says he's going to leave, but only a 9% chance, come on, man. There's some money to be made by the public out there, Joe.
I think there absolutely is, and those markets are a lot of fun, Donnie. I can tell you that right now. And things like this, with teams like the New Orleans Pelicans, who I'm telling you, the reset button is coming, and it would not shock me if it happens before not just next season, Donnie, but before the end of this season.
Let us reintroduce ourselves to the NBA with a doubleheader tonight. One game at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, one game at 10 p.m. Eastern. Game number one, 501, 502 on the rotation. It's the Houston Rockets and the Oklahoma City Thunder. This line opened up as an 8.5-point favorite. Now down, Joe, -7s and 6.5s, depending where he's shopping at as a favorite towards OKC. The total in this game, 224.5, has now been bet as high as 227.5. Estimated starting lineups tonight for the Rockets will start Amen Thompson, Kevin Durant, Smith, Şengün, and Adams. Then we flip it over to the Oklahoma City Thunder, SGA, Dort, Wiggins, Holmgren, and Hartenstein. Away we go into the NBA season. Is it a dog night on batter night or a blowout victory for OKC?
Well, it's funny because we know Houston played a little more defense last year than they had been known to, right? So we know that, but Kevin Durant is basically slotted right in to replace Fred VanVleet, who unfortunately will not be available this season because of the injury. So now Durant is going to have to carry some of this team, but he did do a good job last year, 28, 20, and 26 points he put up against the Thunder in games. So would not shock me if Durant does the bulk of the scoring here. I would be looking at a lot of his maybe over point props here tonight.
Game number two, the Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers. This will take place in L.A., 10 o'clock start, East Coast time, 5:03, 5:04 on the rotation. And a favorite here, which actually opened up look ahead to the Lakers at 3.5. -2.5 now, not for the Lakers, for the Golden State Warriors. And a total of 225.5. That starting lineup for the Lakers, Gabe Vincent, Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and DeAndre Ayton get the start. And the usual suspects here in town for the Golden State Warriors. A favorite for the Warriors. Do we believe that's the correct price tonight?
Well, no, it isn't. I mean, Luka at home in this spot here, getting points. I know there's no LeBron, but
in shape,
it's Luka. In shape, Luka, looking to make a point. And on the other side, I've got, 3 players, 35 years old or older on the floor. The Warriors, I think, have to be very careful with those older players here. It's a long season. Could be a lot of load management going on with Golden State, but I like the Lakers getting points.
That starting lineup, Curry, Podziemski, Butler, Green, and Al Horford here. A lot of age in that lineup, as we like to say. And it's an 82-game season. Let's see if they come out guns blazing when everybody is fresh and healthy tonight, except for LeBron James with that sciatica. It stinks when you get in your 40s, man. Sciatica starts firing up. Leg pain, back pain, elbow pain, just the way it is. Let's get back to some of those predictive markets next. Take a look at what we have to offer.
the best part about it is that they're just going about handling their business. I was listening to Arvell Reese and his literally like 5-word sentences about himself and some of the things that Caleb has been talking about. The dudes are just so locked in here about just doing their job and not worrying about all the other things and awards. They know all those happen when you go win and you win decisively.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Baker Mayfield is the most important player on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are in first place right now, looking dead in the eye of home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They played a bad division. They're going to win a lot of games, and they're the best fourth quarter team, or at least the 2-minute warning team in all football. So, don't sleep on that.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Awesome and monumentous win against Oregon. Texas has saved their season. Texas has given themselves life to potentially crash the college football playoff party. For OU, a loss to Texas shouldn't be the end of your season. And yet with that remaining schedule, it feels like it could be. Books certainly pricing it that way. A lot of movement off of the Red River rivalry.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Paige or Caitlin? Who do you take and why?
I think for the WNBA, in a sense where they're moving toward more guards when it's been very post and big heavy in the past. But there's a reason why Caitlin Clark set all those records at college and then went into the WNBA and set all those records immediately. I really do think she's just a different level talent.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Predictive markets, not only listed on DraftKings, FanDuel, Bet365, BetMGM, Caesars, wherever you're going around. The Kalshi/Poly markets are very interesting here. And we thought we'd make it a part of the show moving forward because what you're interested in, we're certainly interested in as well. We are handicappers. We are bettors. This is some betting markets that might not be available on your standard devices like FanDuel and also DraftKings at those books here. And one of those deals with the NFL here, as we'll take a couple look at some of these NFL wagers you can make. NFL Comeback Player of the Year. 3 options here on Kalshi this morning. Dak Prescott, Christian McCaffrey, and Aiden Hutchinson. If you're looking at saying, well, how does this predictive market actually list? It says 47%. What does that mean? Well, you could bet the yes and the no. The yes means, yes, he's going to be comeback player of the year. A $100 wager on Dak Prescott would return you back here on the no of $162. If you flipped it over to the yes, a $100 wager would get you $213 back. Christian McCaffrey, Aiden Hutchinson, a little bit lower. So the price point is going to be more advantageous if you bet to the yes than the actual no's. I do like the fact, Joe, you can bet yes and you can bet no here. But if we are looking at the comeback player of the year on Kalshi right now, Dak Prescott, Christian McCaffrey, Aiden Hutchinson, Dak's lighting it up. McCaffrey's lighting it up. Hutchinson is a beast on defense. Who would get your money at what price here?
To be determined, right? Because any one of those guys certainly has the stats and has played well enough to be considered for this NFL Comeback Player of the Year, and it's going to be still to be determined. So to me, at this point, if I was jumping in and investing as to who I thought it was going to be, currently in this market, I would go with whoever the best price is right now, because at any moment that could change, especially with injuries and those types of things here. But there's no doubt, I think one of those 3 guys, Donnie, are absolutely going to be a comeback player of the year.
No doubt about it. And also, the fun part about this, too, is you take a look at, and you get similar options here, just let's just say on FanDuel or DraftKings, where you have some, buyout features. But always you look at that and say, man, sometimes like, well, I would like a buyout price if I had an MVP, but it's not popping up here. I can't do that. I got to hedge on another outlet. The good thing about these markets here, you can sell at any time. Like you can pick this right now with Dak Prescott and say, hey, you know what? He's 47% yes. And then say all of a sudden in 2 weeks, he's 68% yes. You You got a profit locked in, you hit the sell button, and away you go with a profit in your pocket. You can reinvest later. Now, granted, we're not, it's like, hey, well, why are you doing this at this point now? It's just interesting markets with thought-provoking analysis that you might be able to give on a spot where you might be able to make some money. Other markets out here, NFL draft #1 overall pick here coming up. You can do that as well. Fernando Mendoza, David Bailey, 42%, 41% here. And again, the same markets say, you know what? I like Mendoza right now. Well, you might wait throughout the rest of the season. He plays well. You get into those early combine numbers, and his number increases to 88%. You don't have to wait till he's the #1 overall pick. You can sell and get out at that point. So looking at the #1 overall pick, a lot still to be determined. Is that market fascinating for you? Or, boy, we've seen quarterback plays well in October, bad in November, bad in December, injured. Now he's not the #1 pick. Yeah, you're going to take those risks at that point here. For the #1 overall pick, Joe, is it Mendoza? Indiana?
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know, Donnie, to be completely honest with you, because I think if Diego Pavia wants to come out, I think he's got a very interesting. Yeah, I'm just thinking there's a possibility. This kid has been absolutely unbelievable. But listen, Mendoza, what else can the kid do? He's getting more publicity now. And he's getting more as he's going in and beating the Oregons of the world and those types of things. Listen, it's the sky is the limit. Right coach, right quarterback. But I can say the same thing for Diego Pavia right now, who last I checked had about a 36% probability of being that #1 quarterback over at Calci.
Now, also, basically like peer-to-peer almost as it is. If I take a look this morning at the FanDuel Sportsbook for the next one we're going to talk about here, the Super Bowl, is that winning conference we have right here? So the Super Bowl, or we'll just go on this one, the link I have here. We'll do this one here. It's actually before we get to that graphic. And then just so I want to bring up a price comparison. The Super Bowl champion this year, Kansas City is listed at 16% right now. So a $100 wager, if you put in on Kansas City, as you type it in on Calci, pays back $625. You take a look here for Kansas City, a $100 wager at 5-1 pays back $500, Joe. So make sure you're shopping around some of these new markets where you can get increased prices. And again, it's the same thing we do everywhere else, Joe. Hey, if I get a 5-1 price on DraftKings and an 8-1, I'm going to take the better price otherwhere. This just gives another market there that you could take a look at to make some sense, even if you're hedging your wager. But Kansas City price, if you think they're going to win the championship, much better price at Calci than, let's just say, FanDuel today.
Yeah, absolutely correct here. And again, it's all about us figuring out what does the market believe, the likelihood of that outcome happening. Like anything
What's
else.
the market believe in the NFL, Joe? Let's find out with this weekend's action. A quick little preview.
The best part about it is that they're just going about handling their business. I was listening to Arvell Reese and his literally like 5-word sentences about himself and some of the things that Caleb has been talking about. The dudes are just so locked in here about just doing their job and not worrying about all the other things and awards. They know all those happen when you go win and you win decisively.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Baker Mayfield is the most important player on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are in first place right now, looking dead in the eye of home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They played a bad division. They're going to win a lot of games, and they're the best fourth quarter team, or at least the 2-minute warning team in all football. So, don't sleep on that.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Awesome and monumentous win against Oregon. Texas has saved their season. Texas has given themselves life to potentially crash the college football playoff party. For OU, a loss to Texas shouldn't be the end of your season. And yet with that remaining schedule, it feels like it could be. Books certainly pricing it that way. A lot of movement off of the Red River rivalry.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Paige or Caitlin? Who do you take and why?
I think for the WNBA, in a sense where they're moving toward more guards when it's been very post and big heavy in the past. But there's a reason why Caitlin Clark set all those records at college. and then went into the WNBA and set all those records immediately. I really do think she's just a different level talent.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The predictive markets here. We're going to have some fun with that. And again, it's not always going to be just like, Donnie Rightside Joe and saying, hey, do you think the Buffalo Bills can win the AFC East? Like, yeah, we talk about that all the time. But some fun options like, will Josh Allen finish the year? Will Josh Allen win the division and be MVP? There's so many opportunities and some fun that we can have. We just thought we'd bring that into our program here to keep it light and lively on a segment each and every day, which we will do. But also segments like this. You know what happened last night. Oh, no. NFL's done for the week here. Well, let's flip the page already, people. Thursday Night Football, Minnesota and Los Angeles. Who's going to be the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings? We're not sure of yet. J.J. McCarthy's practicing. Carson Wentz is practicing here. The Chargers, we get it's going to be Justin Herbert, and they're looking for a bounce back. This game's going to take place in L.A., Joe. Line sits at 3. Total, 44.5. These two teams, they got some holes they got to work on, but they're going to tee it up on Thursday night. How are we feeling about it?
Yeah, and I think this is the first time since week 2, and just really the second time this year, Donnie, where it's not a division rivalry game on a Thursday night.
Yeah.
I mean, usually that's what we'd like to see here because travel is less, teams know each other, it's a little easier to prepare. Not so much here, as the Chargers and the Vikings don't often see one another during the regular season. So here they go. Now the Vikings have to pack up and head out to L.A. Either today or tomorrow, right? Depending on what they're going to do here. And you said it, both of these teams, yikes. I mean, the Chargers, I mean, Justin Herbert threw for what, 420 yards in that game? It was just absolutely crazy. Because he had no choice. They were always trailing. I don't know that he's going to be able to do that against Minnesota, but I know this. I don't think the Chargers are going to find themselves, whoever the quarterback for Minnesota is, Donnie, I don't think they're going to find themselves chasing a score like they were against the Colts in this one.
It's almost like, to me, too, is if you like a total in this game, because the one thing we know is like the Chargers are still banged up on the offensive line, which means Flores is going to be blitzing the hell out of Justin Herbert in this game, which means big plays could happen downfield. But I almost feel like I want Carson Wentz to start because exactly what you got this past weekend. Turnovers, but a lot of yards here. That's usually good for an over. J.J. McCarthy comes back after that ankle injury, basically rookie per se on the road. Maybe it's a little bit tamed down on offense. If you want an over, you better root for Carson Wentz in this game. If it's not, then you got to recalibrate and check some other things out. Now, a total in this next game, Buffalo should be rested and ready. They're over a touchdown favorite on the road against Carolina, who's playing much better football. Carolina, a two-headed monster in the backfield. The last time we saw the Buffalo Bills, Joe, was against Atlanta Falcons. Remind me how that running game did against those Buffalo Bills. Absolutely torched them. Andy Dalton's going to get the start for Carolina. So Ted McMillan's a great wide receiver, but they're not going to be saying we need to throw it 50 times. That ground and pound just might work here, Joe. How about the Buffalo Bills over a touchdown favorite against Carolina with Dalton at quarterback?
Yeah, it feels like, I don't know that the market is pricing this, Donnie, where they think there's a big difference between Andy Dalton and Bryce Young, because
crazy,
this is about, it's kind of what I would have thought this line was to begin with.
Yeah.
So now that Dalton is confirmed, I mean, listen, the Bills have had a week to prep for some things here. Hopefully they've gotten a little bit healthier on the defensive side of the ball. And if that's the case, now listen, Carolina's been very good at home. They just won their first game, it feels like forever, on the road, but that was against the Jets. You like the Bills' chances to come in here and play angry. And when they do that, it could be a very long day for Andy Dalton and the Carolina Panthers here.
Revenge is on the mind of the Philadelphia Eagles. Just 2 weeks ago, embarrassed on a Thursday night football game against the Giants. And by the way, Giants beat up the Philadelphia Eagles in that game. Then you take a look at the Giants. Should have easily beaten the Broncos, but let that one slip away. The Eagles are a touchdown favorite. I'm an Eagles fan, but I'm always an honest Eagles fan. They didn't fix a lot on Sunday. We know they have a good wide receiver. They get the ball to A.J. Brown. We know they have another good wide receiver in Devontae Smith. And Jalen Hurts can step up in big moments. I understand that. But the running game is a mess at this point right now. You get a really good defensive line coming in here for the Giants that can create havoc just like they did 2 weeks ago. And that Eagles defense against mobile quarterbacks doesn't defend all that well. I see that 7, and I say, you know what? The Eagles should win this game the same way they should have won 2 weeks ago. But this Giants team just feels like it's live right now and can make enough plays to keep this close. Love my Eagles. I hope they win. But for me, Joe, early week, Giants at 7 makes sense for me.
Yeah, this would have been so much more fun and interesting, Donnie, had the Giants actually not threw up all over themselves in that fourth quarter against Denver here. We'd be having this whole narrative would be a little bit different, but now the Giants have to figure out a way to put it out of their mind and now go take on a division rival here in Philadelphia. What's interesting to me, Donnie, is you bring up a good point. The market opened this up at 40.5 total points. It's already been bet up over a field goal. So we're looking at 43.5 now in this. I don't know that we're going to, the hook was available when it first opened and it's no longer available. It's 7s now pretty much across the board, which is a very key number here in the NFL betting market. So do we think the hook is going to be coming available? I don't know that this ever gets under 7, Donnie. I really don't. I think this is where the books want it. I think they're hoping to get some equal money on both sides here, and they'll win. But at the same time, the total appears to be where the market is most convinced that points could very well be coming in this game.
Yeah, Dart's going to make some plays in this game. Like the Giants should have won, they did, and they gave up 33 points in the fourth quarter. The Eagles will move the football against the Giants, but it's also, is Cam Jurgens going to be back? How healthy is that Eagles offensive line? Can they get any semblance of a running game with Saquon Barkley? Something certainly to be determined. I'll tell you a fun game we might be setting up here for 425, the national game, Dallas and Denver. That's Dak Prescott and Bo Nix going toe-to-toe. A favorite, Joe, which had Denver as a look-ahead line 4.5. That's down to 3 out of a lot of outlets here, and a total listed at 48.5. Dallas's offense is a juggernaut with CeeDee Lamb back. I like the points here. I agree with the look-ahead line dropping down to 3 points. Give me the 3 points with the Dallas Cowboys. I think they can hang around with Denver and shoot it out with them.
I'm just curious, Donnie, because you're right. I mean, the look-ahead line in some spots was anywhere from 4 to 6. And now all of a sudden we're seeing 3s. So, I mean, that's very interesting to me here. And that's an interesting adjustment. I mean, don't forget, Denver did win that game in improbable fashion, but they still did win. They still have the better defense, although Greenlaw looks like he won't be available after threatening the ref there. But, yeah, could we see points in this game? Yeah, we could see points in this game. Wouldn't shock me at all. 49.5 right now. That's up from 47, Donnie. Does it hit 50? I think it will at some point during the week.
Yeah, some intriguing games that we have to talk about, too. Green Bay and Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football. That's the Packers with Jordan Love escaping with a nice victory and a comeback victory over Arizona. Now, we say nice. They probably should have been able to handle them much easier with a backup quarterback, backup running backs, but they didn't. But they still pick up the win because Michael Parsons had 3 sacks in that football game. That guy's an absolute menace. Pittsburgh at home and getting points in this situation. The trust level still not there with the first place Steelers, Joe.
No, it's not. But this is an interesting. I mean, Green Bay's that whole thing was crazy. I mean, they got in late. They were 5.5 hours late getting to the game. The Packers were, and that offense looked like they were all discombobulated. But they did figure it out with a couple of touchdowns in the fourth quarter to eventually come back and win that one. But I think both offenses are a little undervalued here. The total opened up 43.5. We're seeing 45s now starting to pop up, and I agree with it. I think there could be a lot of points in this game with Pittsburgh and Green Bay going at it here.
Yeah, something to keep an eye on, too, as you take a look at Green Bay. Coming into that last game, you had a little bit banged up at the wide receiver position, but also understand this. Josh Jacobs came in questionable as an illness. If he's healthier, that's going to make a difference. Also, Zach Thomas first came back at right tackle. They'll get healthier on the offensive line. And Christian Watson, who's looked really good in practice, the wide receiver that got injured last year, an ultimate deep threat, He comes into that equation. That adds an extra element to that offense of speed, which we haven't had. Something to keep an eye on. But I do look at that as an eye-opening number where the Packers basically are that hook, 3.5 as a favorite on the road against the Steelers. Something to keep an eye on. It's not a fantastic slate like we had last week, but there are intriguing options as we go and take a look at some of these games to open up early this week. Me as an Eagles fan, come on now. You got to be able to beat the New York Giants. We'll see if that one plays out. But sometimes you need some help, and you got to pull some strings. Adam Kaufman joins us next. A lot of information to hit in a short period of time. We'll be right back.
After the first week of football, who'd have thought Alabama would be right back on the top? After a couple losses, Texas would have a chance to be back where they are. And we've all kind of watched Texas A&M and Ole Miss kind of jump right in the hunt. And, that Texas A&M's kind of become my dark horse because they can beat you offensively and they can beat you defensively.
The Bowden Blitz, only on SportsGrid.
Better bets $90,000, FanDuel, New Jersey, LA. Oh, it must be some sharp hockey better. Yeah, or a rich kid with nothing better to do on a Tuesday night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is funny. God rest his soul, Dave Sheriff always used to say, if he told me this one time, Gabe, he told me 1,000. It's not how much someone bets that moves line, it's who's betting.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I think they are fringes.
Yeah, that might be a push. That's a preference thing, I think. Do you want to be in the SEC? Do you want to live in Happy Valley versus Norman? Maybe you can go down to Texas.
I would take Norman.
Well, to go down and get talent out of Texas.
Yes.
I think you've got to have alumni, president, athletic director that are all on board and committed to winning. And you need to have a fan base that shows up in sports.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Oh, it's a Tuesday. We like to play armchair quarterback. Of course we do. A doubleheader in Monday Night Football last night. Looked at those 2 games, flipped it over Thursday night. Before you know it, we're going to get underway out there in Los Angeles. But also, as we stated multiple times on the early line this morning right here on the SportsGrid Network, when a season ends like Major League Baseball winds down, a new season is about to begin, and that is the NBA. I'm Donnie Rightside, Joe Ranieri, and joining us, Adam Kaufman on a Tuesday morning, the brink of a new season in Boston. Now, is it an exciting season? It's a season. We'll call it that, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking specifically about the Celtics, I think that's a good way to put it. It's a gap year. Everybody knows that. I do think this team actually is going to surprise people. And when I say that, I don't mean the Celtics are all of a sudden right back in the contender conversation and chasing banner 19 and all of that. I just don't think they're going to be this woeful team that's lottery bound that's all of a sudden going to win 25 games. I think if we look at the Eastern Conference, where there are a lot of unproven teams, obviously the West is incredibly difficult. I fully expect that the Western Conference, whichever team it is, Oklahoma City or Denver, or we can go down the list, I think the West wins the championship this year. But the East, you have Cleveland, you have New York, maybe Orlando, obviously, who's really risen up. A lot of people want to buy in Atlanta, but still, that's 4 teams in a wide open conference. I think the Celtics are still a team that's going to be around 500. The over-under appropriately is sitting at 41.5 wins for this team. I do think they clear it. I don't think it's a 50-win team, but so much is going to depend on really 2 sides of a coin, right? It's the health of its remaining stars, Jaylen Brown, Derek White. I do think both are in line for an all-star season. And the other side is, when's Jason Tatum coming back? Because everybody, at least around here, and I think increasingly nationally, expect Tatum to return at some point from this ruptured Achilles that is already ruled out Tyrese Halliburton for the year for Indiana, has already ruled out Damian Lillard for the year, obviously with Portland now that he's back with the Blazers. I think Tatum returns, and if you look at some of those videos, he's looked terrific. So for me, it's January, it's February, maybe it's March. If that guy comes back, looks anything like the top 5 NBA player he looked like before this injury, this is a team that could win 45 to 50 games, potentially be top 4, at least top 6, and be a playoff team in the Eastern Conference. And then once you're in the dance with a healthy Tatum, and I'm really projecting on the what ifs, obviously, who knows?
Yep, less wear and tear during the season as well could certainly work out in his favor. But we do have 2 games tonight, Adam, to get excited with. It's a banner drop night in Oklahoma City, a 7:30 start. The Rockets come to town. The look-ahead line, closer to 8.5. The line's now, some outlets showing 6.5 in a total of 227.5. How do we play this game between the Rockets and the Thunder for you, Adam?
I know it's funny to say because we're basically quibbling on a basket, but if we were still looking at the 8.5 line, I'd probably tell you to take the points with Houston, but now that it's down to 6.5, I like OKC here. There's the lack of Jalen Williams with the wrist injury. That is a bit of a concern, obviously, for Oklahoma City, but you still have the reigning MVP in SGA. You've got arguably the deepest team, maybe not even arguably the deepest team in the entire NBA. You get health outside of Williams to start off the year because obviously the bigs of Hartenstein, Chet Holmgren, these guys were absent a lot of last year, and they're going to go up against a ridiculously sized Houston team that, as we all know, has added Kevin Durant in the offseason, who is playing shooting guard for this team out of the gate in this starting lineup. Guys, I'm sure you've talked about this, but look at this starting lineup. Consider what this looks like right here on paper in terms of these sizes, okay? I'm pulling it up here. You have Amen Thompson, who's going to take a huge leap this year, by the way. Durant, Jabari Smith Jr., Alperen Şengün, Steven Adams. All of those guys at least 6'7". That's obscene. This must be, I mean, I don't know for certain, but it has to be the tallest starting unit we've ever seen in the NBA. So, with the Oklahoma City playing tremendous defense last year, I see no reason that takes a step back, even without Williams here on this one night. Houston trying to figure out exactly how all of this is going to look with Durant, who's going to be great. He's a lethal scorer. He's reliable. He is 37 years old, but I think he's going to be terrific for this team, and I do think that starts tonight. But there's no Fred VanVleet, so all of a sudden your point guard becomes Reed Shepherd. Is he ready for that responsibility right out of the chute? Maybe it's me getting caught up in, again, narratives, banner night, like you said, but I do think the Thunder take care of business at home. This is a team that people are talking about as a 70-win team this year, a team that could challenge the all-time single-season wins record, a team that went 35-6 at home last year. I think OKC on tonight.
Awesome.
Yeah, they added Clint Capella, too. Even more length and size. This is going to be very interesting with Houston. Yep. You have the Lakers making their debut tonight. No LeBron, but Doncic looks like he's in the best shape that we've seen him in a very, very long time, taking on the AARP Golden State Warriors. Who will come straight from, I guess, the Blue Plate special dinner here with how old this team is now. What are we expecting tonight with the Warriors taking on the Lakers?
Well, if we're gonna sit here and talk about age, and it's appropriate for both of these teams, really, but LeBron James, as you said, he's out. He's out until next month sometime, dealing with sciatica. If ever there were an old man injury, it's a sciatic issue in your back, obviously. And so, yeah, LeBron being unavailable all of a sudden makes this the Luka Doncic, who, as you said, he's svelte. He was great for Slovenia in Eurobasket. He looks like he's, avoided the alcoholic beverages in the offseason. He looks great, but it's him, it's Austin Reeves, and where's your depth? I mean, is Marcus Smart going to be healthy, going to turn back the clock? Is DeAndre Ayton going to do that? I mean, they needed a center to complement Jackson Hayes and some of what they have there, but is Ayton going to give you this reliable double-double and stay healthy throughout a year? I think the depth is a huge concern on this Lakers team. On the other side for Golden State, I'm not as big on the Warriors as a lot of people are. Like, I don't think this team belongs in the contender conversation, for instance, but at least to start off the year, you have a healthy Curry, you have a healthy and bought-in Jimmy Butler, you have Draymond Green, you added Al Horford. Another team that needed a center position. He's helped space the floor. I think the Warriors, even on the road here, at -2.5, or if you just want to, a little more juice, just go with the money line, do it that way. I think the Warriors take care of business here in this one. They're going to, again, space the floor really well. Curry's going to be great out of the shoot in prime time. Everybody's going to be watching. This Lakers team is set up to underachieve this year.
Adam Kaufman, he's ready to go with the NBA. He's our guy on the Sports Grid Network. Make sure you catch him. He's on daily here to have some fun with you. Adam, rise and grind with us on a Tuesday. Thank you so much to start the NBA season. Joe and Donnie, we'll be right back to close it down next.
After the first week of football, who'd have thought Alabama would be right back on the top? After a couple losses, Texas would have a chance to be back where they are. And we've all kind of watched Texas A&M and Ole Miss kind of jump right in the hunt. And, that Texas A&M's kind of become my dark horse because they can beat you offensively and they can beat you defensively.
The Bowden Blitz, only on SportsGrid.
Better bets, $90,000 FanDuel, New Jersey, LA. Oh, it must be some sharp hockey better. Yeah, or a rich kid with nothing better to do on a Tuesday night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is funny. God rest his soul, Dave Sheridan always used to say, if he told me this one time, Gabe, he told me 1,000. It's not how much someone bets that moves line, it's who's betting.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I think they are fringes.
Yeah, that might be a push. That's a preference thing, I think. Do you want to be in the SEC? Do you want to live in Happy Valley versus Norman? Maybe you can go down to Texas.
I would take Norman.
Well, to go down and get talent out of Texas.
Yes.
But I think you've got to have alumni, president, athletic director that are all on board and committed to winning. And you need to have a fan base that shows up in sports.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
There you go. Adam Kaufman, fresh out of the gate this morning on the opening of an NBA season, a doubleheader, staggered games. Look, in NBA, you have to have staggered games. It just makes some sense. In the NFL, it doesn't make any sense on a Monday night. But tonight, the Lakers and Golden State will be that late game. I'll wake up tomorrow morning, catch the highlights, see if the Lakers did some damage and how they went away with it. And also, we're going to come up in just a moment here on a buy bet, which does deal for me in that game. But before we get there, we love to reach out to the public and find out what's on their mind. Here's our Fade the Public poll. The Dodgers. You ever see those memes, Joe, on Twitter where it's like, okay, you have the executioner guy that stops by each door and you can put whatever name or whatever person or team you want on each one of those doors as sort of like snatching souls on his way up the list. That's what the Dodgers have done. Cincinnati, hey, let's have some fun. You're not going to have any fun. Philadelphia, nope, no fun for you. Milwaukee, didn't even get the party started at that point. The Dodgers find themselves in the World Series. So we at SportsGrid, if you're not following, unless you're doing something wrong, go over to X and do that. We ask a question each and every morning here for our Fade the Public poll. The question today, easy, like we like to make it. Who are you taking to win this year's Fall Classic? There's only 2 choices. It's the Blue Jays and it's the Dodgers. And the favorite coming in right now, even though they're a minus 220 price to win the Fall Classic, it's the Dodgers at close to 61% live, which is actually down from close to 70%. The Blue Jays fans fresh from partying just woke up and are clicking away at this point because they're up to 38%. I don't know how you bet against the Dodgers. I just don't, Joe. Home field advantage goes to the Blue Jays. I don't care.
It will. And they do have a puncher's chance, Donnie, right? A team that can hit 300 in the postseason, that doesn't strike out much, that's going to put balls in play, that's going to make you play some defense. That's not something, you thought Milwaukee would have done that, Donnie, with them, right? But the pitchers overpowered them and they couldn't get anything going. This is a different hitting team because they can also hit for power. So I give them a puncher's chance. And it should be interesting if we get a little rust in game 1 on Friday. I might be looking to bet Toronto early in this series.
I love the Fall Classic. And I do like the fact that it's a little bit harder for the Dodgers where they're going to open up on the road. And also, there's enough time where so many times in the playoffs, Joe, you advance from the wild card round to the division series to the championship series. Okay, we got a pitching staff. We're all out of gas at this point right now. And yes, the Dodgers are fully rested, but so will the Toronto Blue Jays. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, off for Friday. Everybody's going to be available. Everybody should be healthy. The only question is, by the way, have you heard anything on Bo Bichette? Is there a chance that Bo Bichette can come back for this? Because they were trying to add him, but it just isn't working. That could be huge. That could be a
They're
huge
expecting
addition
him back
to the lineup.
for the World Series. Huge.
Fantastic.
Absolutely
Great
huge.
to look forward to. Do. That'll be Friday, Joe. We'll be in tune all week long previewing that series as it comes up. And now it's time to get after the business. It's time for Bye, Bye, Bye. I like to say, since we've been really fired up, Joe, like since the month of August, like we have done the people a really good service on our Bye, Bye, Bye. Because the one thing you can anticipate as a handicapper, 50-50, right? We don't go 0-2. A lot of nights we go 2-0. But worst case scenario feels like 1-1s. Like we're a team. Last night I picked up the win. You got knocked off, but it's still 1-1. And that's all you can ask for here tonight, Joe. Where are we going for the 2-0 start?
Well, listen, Donnie, I am going to go just when you thought you get a little reprieve from college football. Guess what? You can't. We're going to go here, a little Conference USA action, and I'm going to go with the game that's going to be down in South Florida with Kennesaw State taking on the FIU Panthers on Miami Vice night, Donnie.
Wow.
So that should be a little fun here. There might be 14 people who show up to this game instead of the customary 6. Listen, the bottom line to me is we've cashed tickets here on this show as a best bet with Kennesaw State over the last month or so. Why? This team is rolling right now. I get the better defense. I get the more proven, and they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. FIU played one good game last week against Western Kentucky. All the money is coming in on Kennesaw State after this was a look ahead of FIU as the favorite. They're no longer the favorite for good reason. Kennesaw State wins this, and they win it by at least a touchdown.
Kennesaw State, let's go. Most people can't even locate where Kennesaw State's at, but you can locate where to find a wager on them and bet them and win some money because Joe's taking them. Let's roll with this. For me, it's opening night in the NBA. Everybody's fresh. Everybody's ready. Everybody wants to make a good impression. So, again, just keeping it simple here. Steph Curry, we've seen in the past, Joe, 5.5, 6.5 3-point shots made in the game. Ridiculous price. Are we actually getting value finally on Steph to make 5 3-point shots? If you do, it's only a -112 price. Your boy DRS dipping into the NBA with Steph Curry to make 5 triples tonight and for us to go 2-0. How's it feel, Joe? How's it feel?
I'll tell you that. You ain't going to get no defensive resistance from the Lakers, that's for sure.
No resistance. Donnie Right Side, Joe Ranieri. We'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning for another edition of The Early Line.
Buy or sell, Genty will finish the season as the top rookie fantasy running back. And I guess I would ask this question to you, George. Who the bleep is he competing with at this point? It is so ugly at running back in fantasy. RJ Harvey has done nothing. Omarion Hampton is hurt. Caleb Johnson, does anybody even know where that guy is? He doesn't even play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, what am I missing here? Oh, there's one. There's one that I'm missing. There's one that I'm missing.
I'll name that for you. I'll name the guy you didn't mention there. Well, Henderson's another guy, by the way. The New England Patriots don't trust, right? They don't play him. But the guy that could compete with Genty, would be the name that you said you loved during preseason. You love this guy's name, Cam Scotabo, right? He'd be the guy. He's right there with them. The only problem for Cam would be, A, it is the Giants. Their schedule is brutal. And B, Tracy should return. So that's going to take away. Even Cam will be the starters. I think he will be. But Tracy's going to eat up some touches there. So that's my only issues there. But I think he's the guy who competes with Jetty for that number 1 overall role, which I'm shocked. I'm shocked that it's not Hampton. He got hurt. Shocked that it's not Henderson. They don't like him. Shocked whatever RJ Harvey in Denver, whatever's going on here. Will he finish the season at his top? This is a little different when I say automatically take the field here because there's only one other guy. I'm going to buy this. Jetty's the best guy, but would I be surprised if it's Scatterbo? No, I would not.
Yeah, I'm going to sell this for the guy that I just forgot about in Cam Scatterbo. I guess the only concern that I would have, and it's a slight one, is that in a couple of weeks, Tyrone Tracy comes back.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.